Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and we are live. I will say this, today's live show is going to be a little bit shorter than what we typically do live shows on Thursday, and the reason one of our OGs here at Chat Sports, unfortunately, is going to be leaving us, but good news is we are going to do a Chat Sports Trivia Day today, so I know that doesn't really impact any of you, but that's one of the cool parts, I think, about being able to do what I do up here is I always want y'all to know what's going on in my life. I think it's how we are able to make good friendships, and it's how we're able to say that this is a lot more than just a YouTube channel. So Chugs and I do have to try to get out of here in the next 90 minutes, so just please keep that in mind. The show that we're going to do today, we're going to be talking about a hire that the Raiders made that I'm going to tell you this right now, and this is why I love people that watch this show at this time of the year, because you might have saw some Raiders news today and not think anything of it, but players get a lot of attention. Not too often do front office executives get the attention that they deserve, and the Raiders made a phenomenal hire today that I think just goes to show yet again that this team's operating like a smart franchise. I'll talk about that. The rumors on today's show are from around Jalen Ramsey, from Adam Schefter, and I want to be able to break down some of that stuff because obviously we keep on getting asked here, Jalen Ramsey, should it happen, which actually is the live poll right now, and let me know, should the Raiders go out and should they trade for Jalen Ramsey? We are also going to do a mailbag on today's episode, so what I want you to do is use hashtag Raiders, or you can super chat to skip the line. We're going to do a $20 Venmo duck race at the very end of today's program as well, so if you guys want a chance to get in, win a little bit of money, that's another opportunity to put some money in your pocket today. So the question that I know that a lot of y'all have probably been thinking about over the last 24 hours, how many games will the Raiders win this season? I also saw Bridget was asking me if I knew any information on the Raiders preseason games. I don't know when the games are going to be at, but I would imagine, Bridget, I saw your question again. Thank you for being an OG. That they're going to be like the weekends of, it's probably going to be like August 9th, August 10th is probably going to be the first game, August, 22nd, 23rd, or excuse me, August 15th, 16th, 17th, maybe that second preseason game, and then the final one's probably going to be the 22nd, 23rd, or the 24th. Cuts have to be made by a certain time, so just because the Raiders aren't going to play that first week in August, look for those other 3 games there. But if you don't know who the Raiders are playing, we got the Seahawks. That'll be kind of fun. Pete Carroll's old team. We're also going up against the Niners. Everybody be safe and be responsible. And then the Arizona Cardinals is the last preseason game by the Raiders. But let's be honest, right? If you don't look at the Raiders' schedule, and if you don't look at the entire schedule from top to bottom and wonder how many games this team's going to win, I would say maybe you might want to check your pulse here a little bit, because you start this season off, there's some easier games in the beginning of the Raiders' schedule. I do think that the Raiders' front schedule is a lot easier than the back end because, Chargers, Broncos, Eagles, Texans, Giants, Chiefs. No disrespect to the Giants, but, then again, I can remember looking at a lot of teams last season. The Commanders were a great example of that, and maybe the New York Giants end up being a lot better than what's anticipated. Fingers crossed that the Chiefs, the Broncos, and the Chargers are a lot worse than what I initially think. But let me know down below how many games you think the Raiders are going to win this season. I do see 7 or 8 from Gilbert Moreno. If you haven't seen my prediction, I predicted the Raiders to win 9 games this upcoming season.
Same.
You also had 9?
Yeah, 9-7-1.
9-7-1. That's
I
right.
have the Raiders going 9-7-1 this season.
Oh, never change, Chugs. Never change. Gutierrez is going to go with 7. I see Brandon Perkins says 10. Adrian Klein's going to go with a 7. King Schaub says 10-5.
Did you also,
what happened to the other 2 games,
did
King
you
Schaub?
He meant 10-5-2.
Oh, I thought he was giving me it. I'll tell you this. You predicting wins between 10-5 games makes more sense than a 10-5 record.
Blinky says 8-1.
I'll tell you this. I would sign up for if you told me right now the Raiders are going to win 8 games, and I know that every fan wants us to make the playoffs, and I know that every fan wants us to make the Super Bowl, but I do think when you're talking about what the Raiders' plan is, I think what the Raiders' plan is let's improve this season. And I think we're going to improve this season, right? If it's worse than last year, then buckle up, Buttercup. It's going to be a long, long ride. Let's enjoy the offseason. But I think if you're able to win 8 to 9 games this season, that puts you in the opportunity to win 9 to 10 games the next season. And then I think it puts you in the realm of possibilities to win 10 and 11 the next season. And to me, like, that's what the Raiders plan really truly is going to be with Pete Carroll, John Spytek. And we've also seen that it can be 1 year. Look at the Commanders. Went from being the number 2 overall pick to losing in the NFC Championship game. So we'll see what ends up happening. Sergio says 11-6, believe it can be done. I also believe it can be done. But this is a tough schedule. Like, I would say the ceiling for the Raiders this season is 11-6. I would also say that I think the floor for the Raiders this season is 6-11. What's sad is 6-11 is also an improvement. Let's go to my man Anthony Green, which actually I think that one's from the other day. This one's from Samuel. What up, man? My inside sources tell me they are trying Lockie Tossie at O-line. I'll tell you this. I'll reach out to some of my people because I haven't heard this, but Lockie Tossie is 6'6", 350 pounds. He is a mammoth and a monster of a human being.
Oh, him at guard would be.
And he would move some people around. Like, I'm not going to lie to you, where, I always sit back and I go, could NFL teams try to figure out the tush push? And I know we always talk about copycat, Jordan Mailata, Philadelphia Eagle, also former rugby player, really helped out the Eagles kind of figure out what's important, I think, for the tush push. It was a story that I remember listening to many, many years ago. Now, again, they got Jalen Hurts, the quarterback that's literally the perfect QB for that situation. But if you're the Raiders and you're trying to duplicate what some of these other teams are doing, maybe you go out and you try to make Lockie Tossie an offensive lineman. Maybe it's one of the reasons why you go out and you drafted J.J. Pegues in the 6th round, somebody who had 21 carries at Ole Miss that picked up 18 first downs or a touchdown by going out and getting some of these big body guys. I will reach out. This is interesting to me, but 6'6", 350 pounds. That sounds like an offensive lineman. Sounds like a defensive lineman to me. I don't know about y'all. I hope you guys are excited for our Madden Sims. They are starting tomorrow. Raiders, Patriots, tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern time. And I know that this is a show that we usually, we get a little bit crazy on sometimes. I'm going to tell you this. During the entire offseason, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, not going to be very crazy here. We're going to go through, we're going to talk about the Raiders news and rumors, we're going to answer some questions, and it's going to be I would consider a normal show. Friday for Madden Sims, shit show. And I just want people to know that ahead of time, where if, you're watching this maybe with your son, your daughter, somebody that's not 21, or, somebody that you don't want them watching two dudes throw some beers back, I totally get it. But I also want you all to know that this is also a show that I like to do that kind of stuff. I'm always going to be me, and I hope that you guys appreciate that. I'm somebody that's never afraid to have a good time. Now, obviously, if there's breaking news on a Monday, shit, let's get after it. If it's Monday morning at 9 a.m. and the Raiders go out and they sign Justin Simmons, I'm throwing back some beers that Monday morning. And that's the part of the gig, but that's because I'm excited and I want to be able to share that excitement with y'all. But if you guys are ready for our Madden Sims, I want to see some yeses, and I hope that you end up pulling up tomorrow, because tomorrow's going to be a lot of fun. And I just miss Raiders football. Seeing the schedule come out kind of gets that juice flowing a little bit. You're excited for the future. Tomorrow's going to be a good time, so I hope to see you guys there. Dog, Eric M., Bryce B., Blinky, Brandon Perkins. I see Jeremy Cole all spamming those yeses, so you guys better pull up. Now, again, if you want to get in our mailbag, the mailbag will be the last segment that we do here on today's show. If you want to get a chance to get your questions, your comments in, you got to use hashtag Raiders to skip the line, or you can super chat, which is, think of that as like the Disney Fast Pass, if you will, to get to the very, very front. That way your questions are guaranteed to get in the mailbag. Now, I am looking right now at the duck race. I don't have anybody in yet. It's all good. $20 Venmo if you want a shot to get in. We will do that at the very, very end of today's program. We do have 534 people in the building. I want you guys always to hit that like button. Obviously, helps me and Chugs out. But I think also it is a huge, huge pat on the back to our moderators, people that show up here every single day, and they spend their time watching the show, but they also really help, kind of keep the show going and keep the bots out of there. And the fact that Chugs and I don't have to worry about bots anymore, believe it or not, it's a huge stress reliever. So I always want to give a shout out to any of our mods. And anytime we get some likes, it helps those guys out as well. So Rebel, big luck. Thank you guys so much. And if you haven't already, make sure you click that like button. Now, since I got to try to get out of here, 4:30 my time, that's 5:30 Eastern, today's live show was going to run for 90 minutes. That's my plan today, just based on the schedule that we have here at Chat Sports and at the Raiders Report. So hopefully you guys understand that. I just want to let you know ahead of time. If we do the duck race, which I'm hoping that we get some contestants in, we will probably end up running that when we have 10 minutes left, 15 minutes left. So think of that as probably almost an hour, 5 minutes away from now. But we will get a mailbag. We will talk about the Raiders hire, the Jalen Ramsey rumors. And we're going to sit up here and answer as many questions and super chats as we possibly can. What's up, LA Crash Dog? I see you down there, Gunny. Big Luck, Eric M, Joker, Webb, Bridget, Rivera. Seriously, the fact that you guys are always here, it means a lot to me. It means a lot to Chugs, and it means a lot to our company here at Chat Sports. I think we are showing people that a YouTube channel can be a lot more, and I think the entire world also sees that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we got 550 people here in the building as it stands right now. And you know what? We just got a few extra people getting in for this duck race. I see my man LA Crash, you in. I see my man Anthony Green, you in. And then Gilbert Moreno, you sir are in. Charles G, I got you in. $20 Venmo right now for a chance to win $40 here on today's episode. That'll be a bigger pot by the end. That I promise you. Chuggy Bowl, you ready to get into the very first segment coming up here on today's program?
I think we are.
Are there any NBA games tonight? I feel like there's got to be. I think the Nuggets and Thunder play tonight.
Yeah, because
the Nuggets and Thunder play tonight, I think.
Yep. 7:30, Nugs Thund.
All right, before we get into the first one, who you guys got in that game? Because, am I crazy to say, does anybody else agree with this? The winner of that, like the winner of that series, will win the NBA championship. No, I'll tell you this, the Wolves have been playing good. The Wolves have been playing some really, really good basketball. I saw a stat. It was over the past 2.5 months. The team that's got the second most wins in the NBA behind only the Thunder, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, again, I don't know what that means, like NBA regular season, but sounds like a kind of a cool stat to me.
I like that it's more, it's more open, I feel like, than in most years. Like this year, I
completely agree.
It feels like anybody could win. It could be the Knicks, the Celtics. It could be the Pacers.
Like genuinely,
the Timberwolves. Like these teams are all teams that have never been there before.
If the Timberwolves win,
not never been there, but haven't been there in the last 20 years.
I mean, if the Thunder have never won, obviously. Timberwolves,
they've,
Supersonics
went there with the KD and
sure, but they've never won a title.
Yeah,
I don't know if the Timberwolves have ever won one. Quite frankly, I can't think of a team. Like
the Knicks, I don't even remember the last time the Knicks won a chip. Like I remember they played the Rockets in '95 and they lost.
Like the only reason why I'm rooting for the Thunder, it's because the Nuggets have won recently, and I'm somebody where I always like to see a brand new champion. I don't know about y'all. And the fact that it could be a Pacers team, a Knicks team, a Timberwolves team, or a Thunder team, in my mind, I'm going, that's awesome. Like, to me, any of those teams can win, and I'll be happy about it. I really do. Rebel, Warriors went home. Come on, Knicks. Marsh L. I know that the Knicks did not play well yesterday. I'll also say this. From the minimum, like the game that I watched, I don't think the Celtics are going to shoot the way that they did yesterday. Again. I mean, they were shooting lights out.
Dude, that Luke Cornett guy was just insane.
Brown was in his bag, and then who's their other? He's probably like their third best player.
Derek White?
Derek White.
Or Drew Holiday.
No, it was Derek White. Though Drew Holiday is also a really good player. White also yesterday. I felt like every time I tuned in, he didn't miss. Which maybe I was the bad luck charm. But you're telling me the New York Knicks, Madison Square Garden, against the Boston Celtics. I mean, they're going to be fired up.
With a chance to go to the Eastern Conference Finals.
To play a team that they might even hate more in the Indiana Pacers. Like, the Indiana Pacers and the Knicks is going to be a boxing match. I actually think also the Thunder and the Timberwolves of that game, that's going to be a boxing match. This is like old school basketball. We're talking 90s, 80s basketball in the playoffs, which quite frankly, I love. Let's go to my man Darth. What up, Darth? What do you call a Jedi that lost an eye? Jed. Also, how do you wish a Jedi good luck in the South? May the Force be with y'all. I'm not going to lie, Darth. I needed a good laugh today. I'm not going to tell you what's always going on with my personal life. My personal life is good. Alex and I are, obviously getting ready for the wedding. I think anybody that's ever been married before, there's a lot of financial, what's the right word?
Stress.
Stress, that's the word. Yeah, financial stress that goes along with a wedding. So if you guys want to help make me laugh today, take some of that off my my mind, believe me, it would mean a lot to me because we get married in 22 days, man. It's a crazy, crazy thing. Let's go to Richard Hogan. What up, Rich? New John Madden, Al Davis movie coming out soon, just in time for our return to prominence. Just win, baby. I can't wait to watch it. We actually talked about it a little bit yesterday when we were live on the show, and just being able to see, I saw a picture actually of Nicolas Cage dressed as John Madden, and I couldn't believe how, close it looked. I mean, again, it was Nicolas Cage. He was dressed up as John Madden, and I thought that they did a phenomenal job with the casting of it. Again, I'll be real. I don't watch a lot of movies, and I'm actually proud to say that I don't really watch a lot of movies. Not that I don't have the time, but I would just rather, spend my time doing other things, and that's, to each their own. But this is going to be a movie that you have to watch if you're a Raiders fan, and I mean that. I feel like this is one of those movies that there are two very good actors in Nicolas Cage and Christian Bale, somebody that played Batman and somebody that I can remember from National Treasure. The fact that they got two very well-respected actors to play the roles of Al Davis and John Madden, and I think it's also, we don't always maybe think about this, but I'm sure actors are sports fans too. And the opportunity to play a legend like John Madden, the opportunity to be playing a legend like Al Davis, I know it means maybe more to us because we're Raiders fans, but then also on the outside looking in, Al Davis is a huge reason why the NFL is the way that it is. You got to look at, John Madden. John Madden was literally the face of football at one time. And when that happens, I think you got to jump at the opportunity, and I can't wait to see how that movie ends up turning out. But it'd almost be kind of fun. I know we could never do a watch party for it because I can't show the movie on here, but it would be kind of fun if we were like, all right, y'all, Saturday night, I'm just going to be at home with Chuck and Alex, pull up to the Raiders board 8 p.m. Eastern time, and at 10 p.m. Eastern time, everybody hits play. And I don't say anything. Nobody's saying anything. And we watch the movie together. I actually think that'd be kind of cool. It'd be something that we've never tried before. But if y'all were down, I would do it. I think it'd be cool. Imagine you walk into a movie theater and there's just some guy in there. He's got a microphone and his laptop. He's like, it's fine. I'm on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that wouldn't be an issue at all. All right, y'all. Coming up here on the show, I want to get into today's news and rumors. I did also just see a few more people got in the duck race. Matt Sitter, you're in. And then my man Darth, you, sir, are also in. $20 Venmo for a chance to win $60 here on today's episode. You ready, Chugs?
I'm ready.
Chugs ready to go. You guys ready? Hopefully so. Coming up, let's talk about the Raiders' great hire and the latest Jalen Ramsey trade rumors. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, I'm going to tell you about the hire that the Raiders made today. That it was a great hire, and it just goes to show yet again that this team is acting like a smart franchise, and I could not be more fired up about it. I'll tell you what that great hire is. And then also, I got some Jalen Ramsey trade rumors from Adam Schefter. And since we're talking about Ramsey, I'm going to give you not just one, but I'm going to give you two Ramsey trade ideas at the very, very end of today's show. But I wouldn't be able to do today's show if it wasn't for our sponsor. Huge shout out to Fabian Moreno. Y'all might know him as Night Devil. He's been the Bang MVP in the month of May, and he's been showing out and showing love here to the Raiders Report. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. For those of you that do not know, when you see Fabian Moreno in this live show and the entire month of May, I want you to show him love. But also, I want you to support his business, and his business I'm going to talk about here in just a little bit. Let's talk about the move, the great hire that the Raiders made today. The Las Vegas Raiders, they went out and they hired Eagles Senior Director of Scouting, Brandon Hunt. Hunt will now be the Raiders' Vice President of Player Personnel, and I love this hire, and it's a great hire because you remember a few days ago, maybe it's last week at this point, the Raiders went out and they hired Howie Roseman's right-hand man, Anthony Patch. Well, now they go out and they get Brandon Hunt, somebody who is credited for being a mastermind in the draft room. When you think about a draft room, a war room, you got to look at the people that are always around, the head decision makers. Nick Sirianni, Howie Roseman. Hunt and Anthony Patch were sitting right next to those two guys. Why? Because they are very, very well respected by that organization. So let me tell you first off why it's a great hire. I want you to go back and I want you to look at his Eagles experience. How many people out here think that it makes sense when you learn from somebody or an organization that wins a lot, it can carry over? If you have that thought process, you're going to love Brandon Hunt. He's been with the Philadelphia Eagles since 2022. Philadelphia has absolutely crushed the draft since 2022. Here's your homework today. I know I'm giving you homework on the Raiders Report. Go look at what the Philadelphia Eagles did in the draft in 2024, 2023, and in 2022. You know why I like what the Raiders are doing this offseason? Because they're truly trying to copy what Philadelphia did. Why? They know championship caliber teams are built through the draft. Championship caliber teams aren't going out and spending a boatload of money in free agency. They're making sure you got a lot of depth. And that's what Brandon Hunt's going to be able to bring to the table, and the fact that he's been able to learn underneath somebody like Howie Roseman. Another great example of I love what the Raiders are doing. Let's look at the next reason here. If you didn't see the show that I did breaking down Anthony Patch, it's totally fine. And I know when we talk about front office executives, maybe you don't know the names like you do a star football player, but the way that I like to look at how good somebody is what does their team say about losing them, right? Like, if we lost Rob Leonard, think about what that would do to us. I mean, we'd be like, shit, we just lost Rob Leonard. That's a huge loss. And you might not know a lot about these guys, but this is what the Philly Voice had to say about Anthony Patch. So now you add Hunt with Anthony Patch. The Eagles are known as one of the best teams at finding talent in the NFL draft. Most of the credit deservedly goes to Howie Roseman, the team's executive vice president of football operations and general manager, who has the final call on all draft picks and personnel decisions. But as Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni likes to say, you can't be great without the greatness of others. And one of Roseman's greatest draft assets has left the organization. Anthony Patch, the Eagles' longest tenured scouting staff member, is leaving the team for a senior personnel executive role with the Las Vegas Raiders. Since 2016, Patch has served as the Eagles' senior director of college scouting and was arguably Roseman's most reliable scouting source. It wasn't uncommon to see Patch seated alongside Roseman and team chairman Jeff Lurie in photos on their broadcast. My point is this. You are stealing two extremely important people away from an Eagles organization. An Eagles organization that has won more football games than any team in the NFL over the past 3 years, not named the Kansas City Chiefs. So think about when you go out and you hire somebody, and you got to look at what they've done in years past. The fact that Hunt has been with the Eagles since 2022, you know what I did? I went back and I looked at how many flipping games the Eagles have won since 2022. And when you look at how great they've been in the draft, I do really think that that's a huge tip to the cap to that entire front office executive group. Chiefs are at number one. They're at 40 wins. The Eagles got 39. The Raiders during this time have won 18 games. So when you steal two people from the Super Bowl champs, a team that's been to the Super Bowl multiple times over the past 3 seasons, and a team that has won this much, you got to look at and you got to go, that's a great flipping hire. The final reason here of why I think Hunt is, again, a really good hire here for the Raiders is his Steelers experience. I know I'm a Pennsylvania guy, and quite frankly, I can't stand the Philadelphia Eagles and the Pittsburgh Steelers just from growing up in that area. But Philly's won a lot in the last few years, and the Steelers are one of the most successful organizations in the NFL. I mean, Pittsburgh hasn't had a losing season, and Mike Tomlin gets a lot of credit for that, no doubt about it. But you know who also deserves a lot of credit? Omar Khan, who's also considered one of the best GMs in the National Football League. So we're talking about Brandon Hunt, who worked with the Pittsburgh Steelers from 2009 to 2022. And you go back and look at Pittsburgh's teams during that stretch. Lot of good drafts, a lot of talent being able to be found there. So you got somebody learning underneath Omar Khan, learning underneath Howie Roseman, and bringing everything that he's learned from two organizations that all they've done is win. That sounds like a hell of a hire for the Las Vegas Raiders. So my question to the nation is this, to the 750 people that are watching our live show right now. How big of a Raiders fan are you? And I want you to scale it from 1 to 10. It's okay if you're not a 10 out of 10. I'll be real. If you're watching this video in May, I don't know too many Raiders fans that are watching videos in May. I would say that you're a 10. If you go, you know what, man? I don't know if I'm a 10. Maybe I'm a 5. Maybe I'm a 6, a 7. It's totally okay. The reason why I'm asking this question is because I promise you, you will become a bigger and smarter Raiders fan by subscribing to the Raiders Report. We're going to create a family atmosphere here. You're going to get to know people in this chat like Zalesbo, like Darth Fatass, like Misty Williamson, and you're going to see those people and you're going to go, man, that's my brother. That's my sister right there. And that's going to make you a bigger Raiders fan. But also, you're going to become a smarter fan because go up to all your friends today and go, I love the hiring of Brandon Hunt, and tell them all the reasons that I just did. They're going to go, wow, this person knows a lot. If you don't become a smarter Raiders fan after a week, unsubscribe. You have nothing to lose. I'm just so confident in what we do here that you're going to become a smarter fan and you're going to keep on watching. And that's the number one reason why I want you guys to watch this show, to become smarter Raiders fans and to keep growing this family here. Let's get to the next story, and it's going to be around Jalen Ramsey. And according to Adam Schefter, there's more interest in Jalen Ramsey than people realize. Schefter also goes on to say that a trade could happen in June, and I don't really think that it should surprise anybody that a trade involving Jalen Ramsey happens in June and doesn't happen in May. Schefter does say that the trade would happen. He actually said if a trade were to technically happen now, it wouldn't be processed until June 1st. So think about, when the Raiders designated Jimmy Garoppolo as a post-June 1st cut. Think of it as like maybe when a team goes out and they trade for a player before free agency starts and then it doesn't become officially official. We might get the details that a trade's going to happen, but it wouldn't become officially official until June 1st, and that's because, again, of the money that the Miami Dolphins would be able to save. And Miami doesn't want to trade Ramsey because they don't have a need at corner. I talked to our Dolphins guy here at Chat Sports, Nick Roloff, and I go, what are the two biggest needs that Miami has? He's like, cornerback and safety. So if those are your two biggest needs, it doesn't make sense to move on from Ramsey from a football standpoint. The reason why they're moving on from Jalen Ramsey is the dollar bills. So technically, if the Dolphins said, we are going to trade Jalen Ramsey, they're eating $25.2 million, and they don't save anything. They actually are eating another $8.6. If that trade ends up happening after June 1st, just because of the way the contract is structured, the dead money, 6.7. The cap saving for Miami is 9.9, which probably pays for all their draft picks. So again, if this trade's going to happen, it's going to happen in June. My job here on the Raiders Report, though, is talk about how this could potentially impact the Raiders, because I know Ramsey's a big name. Ramsey was a name we talked about before the draft, and I got asked a bunch of times in the last 24 hours, Mitch, do you think the Raiders could trade for Ramsey? I am going to give this one only one just win, baby, and I would say that there is a small chance that it happens. I'm not saying it's impossible, and I say that because I would say there's a better chance that the Raiders trade for Jalen Ramsey than there was for the Raiders to trade for Devontae Adams 2 years ago. But the fact that the Raiders would have to pay him $21.1 million in 2025, his contract is a lot more flexible than what people realize with the $0 million guaranteed the next 3 years. He does also have some extra void years at the very end of it. But because our Dolphin source is telling me it's going to cost a third-round pick, that means the Las Vegas Raiders are going to pay Ramsey $21.1 million, give up a third-round pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. Are you okay with that? If you're not okay with it, then you're probably not going to do it. To me, though, the reason why I think that it is unlikely that the Raiders make the move for Ramsey, the first reason is I believe this Raiders organization is a lot more confident in their outside cornerbacks than what people realize. I do believe that Jacorian Bennett is a good player. I know that they're confident in Darian Porter, who they just drafted. They also went out and they signed Eric Stokes. And even though DeCamerion Richardson is not a part of this regime, he fits the Pete Carroll, what they look for in a corner, and long, lanky, super athletic. And the fact that also this is an organization that believes in competing, you put Eric Stokes, Darian Porter, Jacorian Bennett, DeCamerion Richardson, and even a guy like Mello Dotson, who got a lot of attention at rookie minicamp, you put all those guys in a room, and because they're so competitive, it's going to make that entire cornerback room better. Let's go to the next reason here why I think trading for Ramsey is unlikely. Ramsey is not a slot corner. He's also not a free safety. Could Ramsey make a transition to play a position he's never played before? Sure. But would you want to pay somebody $21.1 million to do something that they'd never done before? I think actually what the more realistic situation would be, Raiders go out, they trade for Ramsey, and then they try to convert one of those cornerbacks that I just talked about to an inside guy. Or maybe you try to convert another player on the back end. But my biggest concern with this Raiders defense is the secondary. And we need a true free safety. Do I think Ramsey could do it? Honestly, I do. I think he's athletic enough to be able to do it. We saw Charles Woodson do it. We saw somebody like Patrick Peterson do it. And you could say what you want. Ramsey is in that upper echelon of elite corners that at the end of their career, if they need to do it, I think that they could do it. But I'm not paying $21.1 million. I'm not giving him a third-round pick to have him do something that he's never done before. So because the Raiders' biggest needs are slot corner and free safety, I don't know if they do it. Next reason is Darian Porter was drafted. The Raiders invested a third-round pick, number 68 overall, which maybe that's a high pick, maybe it's not. But the Raiders had a lot of holes to fill. They went out, they got Ashton Genty, the best prospect, at number 6. They go out and they get Jack Besh, somebody that they feel is going to be a really good asset to their team. But then they also went out and got Darian Porter. And I'm not saying Darian Porter is better than Jalen Ramsey. It's not what I'm saying at all, because I do think Ramsey would be better than Porter right now. What I'm saying is the Raiders, I believe, feel like they addressed their outside corner need in the draft. So if you already feel like outside corner is solidified and Ramsey has only played outside, maybe that's another reason why you go, I don't know if that's what I'm going to do. Because if I was the Raiders, I'd say if free safety was a bigger need, dude, just go out and sign Justin Simmons. Go out and get somebody that's already a free safety that can play that position, and it's going to be a lot cheaper than $21.1 million. Let's go to the next reason here. If you're going to invest that type of money in Ramsey, it's going to cost some money. I would rather you use that $21.1 million, and I would rather you use that to get some extensions done with Colton Miller and with Jakobi Meyers. Because quite frankly, I don't know why it isn't done yet already. You got to prove to Geno Smith that he's going to have his left tackle protecting him. You got to prove to Geno Smith that your wide receiver 1 right now is going to go out there and he's going to be able to help this team continuously win. But also, Colton Miller's a stand-up dude. Jakobi Meyers is a stand-up dude. Both of those players have an opportunity to wear a C on their chest, and those aren't the type of players that you play around with this bullshit with. You just go give them those contract extensions. You tie them into Pete Carroll. You tie them with Geno. You tie them with Max Crosby, and you show players on this roster that, you know what, we're going to take care of you. And I think that that's really important when you're trying to build what the Raiders are trying to build. Again, do I think Ramsey helps this team? Yes, I do. But I also think going out and signing Justin Simmons and giving those 2 extensions is actually makes more sense for the Las Vegas Raiders. The last reason is other teams are interested. And because other teams are interested, that could drive up the asking price. And because I don't think that outside corner is a need, I don't know if the asking price for the Raiders, I don't know if they're going to pay up what some of these other teams could do. And now this was reported back on April 24th by Adam Schefter that the 5 teams that have seemingly been interested in Ramsey, Schefter did also say before the draft that other teams were interested. I'll be real. I know for a fact that the Raiders were one of those teams that were showing interest in Jalen Ramsey. But that was before the draft. I don't think that there's as much interest after the draft. So if teams like the Rams, the Lions, the Falcons, Commanders, and Eagles, if all 5 of those teams are interested, let's be honest with ourselves. I think the Raiders are going to have a good year. And I think the Raiders can make it to the playoffs. But to me, I would say the Lions are a Super Bowl caliber team. I would say the Commanders are a Super Bowl caliber team. I would say the Eagles are a Super Bowl caliber team, obviously. I think the Rams, honestly, could be a Super Bowl caliber team. The Falcons are the only weird one kind of in that mix. But if they're really trying to separate themselves in that division in a weak NFC South, maybe they're willing to ante up a little bit more for Jalen Ramsey. These teams, to me, are a little bit more desperate than the Raiders are right now. And I use desperate in terms of being like they're willing to go out and spend more. For that reason, I just think it's unlikely that Ramsey is a Raider. So coming up here next on the show, I'm going to get into my Jalen Ramsey trade idea. And I have a trade idea that I would offer. It's a low ball offer, not going to lie to you. I'm also going to give you guys the trade offer of what I think that the Dolphins would ask for / sounds like what the Dolphins would ask for from our Dolphins guy. Before I get into that, though, I want y'all to always support our own here. And I started the show off by saying, huge shout out to Fabian Moreno. And I want you guys to go support his restaurant and give him a follow on Instagram. It's Desert Shark Tucson. Located in Tucson. If anybody out there wants a good meal, because I was looking at the photos and literally like one of his very first pictures is him in a Raiders t-shirt. And you could tell that this is somebody that's trying to get their restaurant up off the ground, but he wants Raider Nation to go show him support. So here's what I'm going to do. If we can get Desert Shark Tucson to 2,000 Instagram followers by the time I go live tomorrow, which is going to be on Friday again, 4 p.m. Eastern time, I'm going to give away an extra Ashton Genty jersey on the house. You don't got to put in $1. You just got to be there tomorrow. That's all it is. As long as you're there and he gets to 2,000 IG followers, we're going to give away an Ashton Genty jersey, and this is how it's going to go. I'm going to go, who wants a Genty jersey? And everyone's going to go, I want one. And then we're going to pick somebody. Huge shout out to Fabian again for being a real one, making this show a lot of fun over the past NFL draft, the month of May. But I do really believe that Raider Nation needs to continue to support their own and do it. It's 100% free. We'll put his Instagram link down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. It's also in the live chat. I believe in helping out our own, and I will do my best this year. You have my word. I got my wedding. I got my honeymoon. Trying to not eat too much bad food. Not saying your food's bad, but I'm like on a really strict diet right now. That's Alex. I want to be able to get out here this summer, and I want to be able to chow down some food. And if we do, I would like to be able to hold a Raiders event here just, again, to say thank you. So please, make sure you guys give them a follow. Make sure you guys are showing love to our own. All right, let's go to the first trade idea here. Now, this is what I believe the Miami Dolphins would want. Third-round pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. The only reason why I don't know if the Raiders are as interested in this is because I do know the Raiders are really trying to stockpile picks in 2026 and in 2027. But if this is what the asking price is, if I'm the Raiders, I go Geno Smith for a third, Jalen Ramsey for a third. One of those is clearly a better value than the other. And that's why I don't know if this happens. But I'm a man of the show, and I wanted to be able to have some fun here. Here would be my offer to Miami, and when I do it, I'm doing this as like an honest offer, right? I do think it's a little bit of a low ball, but I actually think that the Raiders, the way that they've operated this offseason, would probably give them a little bit of a low ball. The reason why I'm going to offer a fourth-round pick in 2026 is because the Raiders are expected to get an additional fourth-round pick. Just like we got that additional comp pick from Devontae Adams before, we're expected to get an additional comp pick for the fourth. So we would still have a fourth-round pick. Then, because their biggest needs, according to Nick Roloff, our host here at Chat Sports for the Dolphins, is cornerback and safety, I'll give you a cornerback into Cameron Richardson, who I think he's got some upside. He's only been in the league for 1 year, does also offer you some special teams ability, long, lanky, very athletic, and he's probably the fourth best corner, outside corner, that we have. I'll also throw in Chris Smith, who is a very well-respected player in a locker room, hasn't gotten a lot of time on the field, comes from the University of Georgia, but he also is somebody that's going to be in that final year of his contract, and I don't know how much playing time he's going to get. Do I think the Dolphins want this deal? No, I really don't. But if this is what they said, Mitch, what would you offer me for Jalen Ramsey? This is the offer that I would present them first. And if they don't like it, then the deal's probably not going to get done. But I don't like the idea of giving up a third-round pick, especially because of the masterclass that John Spytek was able to do on day 2 of the NFL draft. And I think a big reason why our draft was as successful as what it was is because the Raiders had a plan, they executed it, and they were able to dominate on day 2, which helped us build a very deep roster overall. So appreciate everyone tuning in again. Really love the hiring of Hunt. Jalen Ramsey, I think it's unlikely, but nothing's impossible in the NFL. Let's get into some questions here on the Raiders Report. What up, Mig? Mitch Chugs in the chat. Can't wait for the Al and Madden movie. Yes, get Ramsey too. I guess, Mickey, my only question is, do you have any disagreements with anything that I just said now after Ramsey? Like, in a perfect world, sure, right? Like, in a perfect world, Jalen Ramsey looks great in the silver and black. Though, quite frankly, anybody I think would look good in silver and black. Appreciate you, Mig. Let's go to Caleb. I'll be in Tucson Saturday. Caleb, I'll make you a deal, Caleb. If you show up to Desert Shark Tucson, okay, give him a follow. Make sure you message him. Tell him, hey, I'm a Raiders Report watcher. If you show up, let me know. Add me on Venmo. I'll send you some money to get some food and some drinks. I'm not gonna send you Raider Ron money, but I'll send you some money to get some food and drinks on the house. Because again, if you end up doing that, I think it just goes to show again that this is so much more than a YouTube channel, and it would mean a lot to me. So anybody in the chat right now watching, if you live near Desert Shark Tucson and you want to go get some awesome food, take a picture that you're there. Fabian, if you end up seeing Raiders Report people are there, let me know. I am more than happy to buy a few rounds of some beers, more than happy to buy a few rounds of some tacos and some good eating because, not gonna lie, I'm a little hungry right now. I've been trying not to eat as often, which is also one of the reasons why I started off this show earlier today just telling y'all Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are days that I don't really want to get into the drink and the beer because I don't eat as much and, it would hit me a little bit quicker. I was looking at some of the food and I was like, dude, I would love to crush some of those tacos. Pause. Caleb, seriously though, let me know, man. Let's go to another one.
I'm making a bowl right now.
Are you? I'm not, like, one of my favorite things to do, and Tom Segura does a skit where he talks about, like, are you ever just, like, online and you're shopping for things that you could never afford? And he's, like, talking about, oh, this is the dream plane for $55 million that I would love. I don't do that because that, to me, is a waste of time. I do always, though. I'll go on Uber Eats or I will go, like, on a restaurant, and I will just look at their menu and I'll be like, oh, dude, I would get that. Oh, man, I would pair that with this. Oh, dude, this looks really good right now. Uber Eats, like, the amount of stuff I have in my cart that's just sitting in there just because I was randomly hungry at one time. It's amazing, man. It's going to be amazing. What up, Money Chuck? I see you down there below. What up, what up, what up?
Dude, hell yeah.
Mitch, no, I don't disagree. Miggy, much love. Blinky, planning to see my first Raiders game in November versus the Jags, so that's week 9. What am I in for? You're in for a chance to win a Genty jersey because anybody that sends in a $5 super chat in the entire month of May, you in. Where's the effing party at over there? If you're talking about the party in Vegas week 9, that I have no idea about yet. Humbly, if I go to Vegas, the party will follow where Chugs and I go. I know that that's the case. The weeks that I'm trying to go out to Vegas is going to be week 11, Raiders, Cowboys. I'm also going to try to go out for the home opener. Again, it can be easy. It can be tough for Monday Night Football games. But right now, those are definitely the 2 days that I have circled on my personal calendar that I'm going to try to make it out there. Though the last time I saw a Raiders-Jags game was probably one of the coolest games I've ever been a part of. It was also the game that leaving, I felt like I was just the most heartbroken, and that was the final game in Oakland. Frickin' Gardner Minshew, man. But, Gardner Minshew, final game in Oakland. Absolutely brutal. And now he's a Chief. I went from loving Gardner Minshew to, I don't know if I can stand him anymore. Quite frankly, can't stand him anymore. We got 720 people here in the building. Are you going to a Raiders game this season? Give me a yes, give me a no. If you're typing yes, don't be afraid to put a little dash next to it and tell me which game you're going to.
Yes.
Though I did see, Alex was telling me the other day that apparently like the dash, like if you put a dash in a sentence, it's starting to alert either companies or professors that students are using like AI to do their articles. But I use dashes all the time. So I read an article that was written by a professor that said over the past year, we've noticed more like AI-generated articles by our students, and one of the top tips of difference in writing is the dash. Where, like, imagine, if you're somebody that I don't know, you've written a certain way your entire life, and those are the way that you're submitting papers. And now all of a sudden you're
I just see that,
you're just this scholar.
If I just see that and I'm a student, Command F dash.
Well, that's my tip. So if you're a student and you see the dash, get rid of it. I don't know. What I used to do when I was a student was we used to change the period and commas to a size 14. Like if a page paper had to be 5 to 6 pages, if a paper had to be 6 pages, you could write 5 pages and then make the period or comma size 14, 6 pages. Just like that. To all my professors at Centenary College, I apologize.
I actually...
But I think at this point, I don't really need my degree.
I actually never did that.
You could take it away.
I was good.
Yeah?
Yeah. I was a good boy.
There were certain classes that I took a lot of time and effort in. There were also others that I just didn't, which it's just the case in any college. I also say this to anybody that's watching this show right now. You're in middle school, you're in high school, you're in college. Don't listen to what I did. I was not a good student. No, I really wasn't. I was not a good student. Night Devil! Bang! Come on, dude! He said his phone just blew up. Well, I think you need to go to the Apple store and go get a new one.
Is your refrigerator running? You better go catch it.
He's just sitting there and poof. Oh, what happened? Raiders report. Fabian Moreno!
And if you don't know why his phone just exploded, then you're not following him on Instagram.
Go give him a follow on IG. I mean, Fabian, if any Raiders fans, please, Fabian, if any Raiders fans show up to your restaurant and, they're like, hey, I heard about it from the Raiders report, I'm not going to ask you to give a discount. That's not what I'm saying. If you want to, never a bad thing, right? But at the same time, send me some pictures. I would love to be able to put them up here on the show. But then also, I'm going to send you, I'm going to send you a Venmo personally. That way you can just cover some food. You can cover some drinks. That way if there are any Raiders fans that end up pulling up, you just take care of them on behalf of the Raiders report. Because, again, everything you've been doing on this channel, dude, I greatly, greatly appreciate it. So, shout out to Fabian Moreno, a.k.a. the Night Devil, which, speaking of the devil, you in for the duck race. Fabian Moreno. Fabian, I did say this. You got to keep me up to date on your IG count. I did say if you got to 2,000 IG followers by the end of the day. Hang on. Yep. Oh. What has happened? If you get to 2,000 IG followers by the end of the day, I'm going to give away an extra Raiders jersey tomorrow. Just on the house. You just got to be watching there. So hopefully that ends up happening. Hopefully you get some extra business as well. But I mean, if anybody is in the Tucson area, look up Desert Shark Tucson. Locally owned poke spot. Fresh, flavorful island vibes. Actually, they have delivery and drive-in. Oh, dine-in. Excuse me. I can't read. That, which everybody already knew that. Blinky! I haven't booked any flights or tickets yet, so I could swap it to Week 11. Raiders-Cowboys sounds like a blast. Quite frankly, this would be the weekend I would tell anybody to go. Now,
it's going to be more expensive.
It will be more expensive. It's actually, I believe, the most expensive game in the NFL this year. I believe we just got an update on expected ticket prices, and that was the one that I was telling you about right before we went live. I do think this is going to be the most expensive game of the year. But if you want an opportunity to hang out with Jeremy Chuggs and I was already talking to Alex about it. She wants to try to go on Friday, and then she would try to stay. I don't know. She wants to try to stay for the game. She would just go later, but obviously, you and I would say we'd have to fly back on Monday, where I tried to tell her what the game plan would be. She was just excited when she heard Raiders-Cowboys Monday Night Football. But I think it's going to be a cool opportunity. I want to be able to take Chuggs and Danny out to Las Vegas as well, just because, again, Danny's a Cowboys fan, and I think it would be a lot of fun, to just kind of show our significant others sometimes maybe the craziness in person. Because, I'm sure that there's always a point where you see somebody online and
Big A can just take our 2 girls to the game, and we'll come back.
I'll talk to him. I mean, he might. I don't know. He might. I don't know.
Does he have a suite?
Kinda. I mean, again, though, his tickets they're like $3,000 a pop. That's a big ask. Though he's got a big bankroll, so we can ask him. But seriously though, if anybody I'm telling y'all right now, week 11, that's going to be a week that we're going to really, really try to go out there. So I'm also really going to try to take Alex's mom out there and her dad, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, for that weekend as well?
Yeah. Though there's extra logistics because Alex and I know that we can stay at somebody's house, and you guys also could stay. Alex's dad is a little old school, and I actually don't know if he would stay at somebody's house.
That he doesn't know.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what it looks like, doesn't matter where the location is. Even if, I mean, let's be honest, you could go in that house and you could not run into anybody.
I mean, they could just get a hotel room.
Yep, I know. It's just there's still a little logistics. Plus, I try to explain to them how expensive hotels are going to be that weekend. Because they're like, oh, we were just there in Vegas, and our hotel was like $150. Like, it won't be $150 that weekend.
Yeah.
Though I did see actually Vegas, they took out resort fees. So there's no more resort fees in Las Vegas. If I read what I think, I believe I read that correctly. I believe it was like it was a few days ago, no more resort fees in Las Vegas. And I think that they're doing it simply because it's so expensive to go to Vegas anymore. And it's kind of dead. Let's go to Phoenix, King. Going to week 1 versus the Pats. I'm making a sign just for McDummy.
Please send it to us.
Please, yeah, I'm going to say, please send it. If you could even put, I do almost wonder, I mean, fire McDaniels. I want you to make whatever sign you want to make. Obviously, don't say anything that is going to get you in trouble or anything like that, but
yeah,
make sure you go up there. Make sure you represent. I had the opportunity one time to go to Foxborough. It was for a Coldplay concert when I lived up there. Awesome stadium, especially like for a concert at night. A lot of trees around. It's literally in the absolute middle of nowhere. But there's going to be a lot of people there because that's going to be – I would imagine that Tom Brady is going to that game.
Yeah.
I would imagine he's going to that game.
Chris, I would do that. I just don't want to embarrass you.
What?
So.
What happened? Oh, I don't know. Oh, this guy. Chris, why does that name sound familiar? I feel like there was a guy way back, Chris. I hope this wasn't you. The last name, somebody that last name is sticking with me of somebody who said some wild shit back in the day about us. Not you, us as like a company. I hope that's not you, Chris. Because that last name is ringing a bell in my mind because I have certain people that I have written down in a doc. I do. It's just something that I always keep in the back of my mind. Because, again, we meet a lot of people.
Are you in our black book?
That last name. I need to know how long you've been watching. That's maybe important here.
Rebel.
What was the reference on the Colts and Titans part of the schedule release video? Hi, Marsh. I'm on TV again. Nixon 6.
To my knowledge, it was just a joke about bachelorette parties because it was like a bachelorette party bus that ran over Will Levis, and he spilled mayo on the ground.
I mean, from what I understood, the Colts taking down their video was more to do with they violated something with Microsoft, and they obviously probably don't want to fight that battle with Microsoft. So I don't know all the ins and outs, but I mean, one of the videos that I was going to do today, and Chugs brought up a good point because we can't show the clips of each one, but the Raiders had, I actually think, probably the best schedule release video that they've ever had. They had so many jabs in there. Like, I thought, Tom Brady with the GOAT, how they let it off was funny. The week 2 one where they're showing the 3 Super Bowls, and the way that I envisioned it, it was like, literally to the Chargers, you're the 3rd most popular team in Los Angeles, and you've never won a Super Bowl. Boom, roasted. Like, is essentially the way that one ended up going down. The week 7, the Chiefs one where they're pulling out flags left and right. And if you don't know who Penn and Teller are very popular in Las Vegas, but they do magic and they make people laugh. And in my mind, I was like, you almost got to laugh how many flags get pulled out in the Chiefs games, and they're just popping out left and right like it's magic. So that was hilarious to me. I thought the Week 9 against the Jags was really funny because I know it was JPJ, and maybe I'm overthinking it, but the way Jackson Powers Johnson said Raider, like the way he said it, I think he was trying to make fun of the way Liam Cohen said Duval. That's my 2 cents. Eagles Week 15, they made fun of the tush push. The Broncos, they had obviously a Bronco come in, but it was for one, a tiny horse, which some might even call a donkey. And then the guy who was sitting there is like, I've been here for 5 years and nothing surprises me anymore, which I feel like every Raiders fan over the past 5 years could say the exact same thing. I'm trying to think of another one that I thought of was pretty good. Those are the only ones that are coming to my mind right now. I actually really enjoyed the Blue Man Group for the Giants. I thought was clever. Those are the only ones that are coming to my mind right now. Let's go to Anthony Berard. I just saw breaking news that Charles Woodson was being interviewed for GM. Is this true or fake news? Very fake news. The only thing that I know Charles Woodson is in the news for is he's actually about to buy, I don't know if it's 1% or if it's like 0.01% of the Cleveland Browns. So Woodson is, from what I understand, about to be a minority owner, and I think it's 0.1% or something, or it's 0.01%, and it has to do something with like Charles Woodson and then his whiskey brand. I don't know. I don't follow the Browns as closely, but no. And if I had to guess, I noticed on YouTube, Raiders Wire. You guys probably know Raiders Wire. They 1,000,000% sold their YouTube channel to some bot because the bot just pumps out the craziest YouTube videos. Yeah. And they stole a few of ours. And don't worry, we flagged them for it. They got hit with some lawsuits.
Oh yeah.
But then also, I know that people I think Facebook is probably one of the worst places you can get Raiders news just because of the amount of just crazy shit that gets spewed out.
It's just fake.
I promise you this. Anything that we talk about on this show, either A, it's a legit rumor report from somebody credible, or B, it actually ended up happening. If you don't hear me talking about Charles Woodson being interviewed for GM, because I know it's not our GM. We got our GM. Let's go to
Jacob DePriest. I know you're not talking about me with those pubes on your chin, buddy.
How would you pronounce this?
Wuju Lonzi.
All right, Wuju Lonzi. Absolutely stoked for this season. Haven't been this excited in a long time. Raiders. Also, put me down for that Ashton Genty jersey. Raider Nation for life. Hey, man. Good luck. I hope that you end up winning it.
If
you're in.
What a pull Wuju Lonzi would be.
Yeah. Wuju Lonzi. A Wuju Lonzi bang would be wild. I mean, if you guys don't think we're going to clap back from time to time, then,
yeah.
I mean, come on. Like, the way that we run this show, and I always say this, you know that you're really good friends with somebody when you can crack jokes with them. Like, if we're not close enough to crack jokes, we're just not good enough friends. Like, I can remember the last time I went to Vegas, and again, it was a small group. It's my most recent memory, but Jeremy Cole was there, Blue Richards was there, Screaming Chicken was there, and we were all just hanging out, having some beers, and there was a constant flow of, a few jabs here and there, but that's what good friends do. And at least that's what I do with my good friends. Again, if you're not able to poke fun a little bit, then we're just not that close. So when you guys see me in person, when you guys see Chugs in person, I want you to bring that energy. I want you to bring it because we're going to bring it right back. Because the last thing that I want is for you to talk to me like, and I get it, you guys watch the show every day, and some people, I've seen it more with kids where, they're maybe a little starstruck, which is a kind of a crazy word. I'm a normal dude. Chugs, we're normal people.
Yeah.
I promise you that. We are almost too normal. It's almost too normal at times. Sometimes too laid back from what I've been told, which is also why I get chewed out all the time for having a weird microphone voice or whatever the hell it is. But I do talk differently up here because you got to use the diaphragm, got to use the belly. You ready to get into this mailbag, my guy?
I'm ready.
Chugs is ready to get into the mailbag. Coming up here on the show, Raiders Report mailbag. Make sure that you use hashtag Raiders or Super Chat to get those questions, comments on the show. I am looking right now to see if we got anybody else in this duck race, and I do see Carlos Carpenter. You, sir, are in $20 Venmo right now for a chance to win $80 here on the Raiders Report. So the way that the next 15, 20 minutes are going to go, I'm going to answer questions from the nation. I think we already got some good questions in there, but if you want to get your questions on the program, the number one way to guarantee it, send in a Super Chat or, excuse me, I know I keep burping. I took one of those fat burners from Panda Sups, and I can feel it working on me right now. But if you want to get a question in, and I get it, we're getting a lot more new people every single day to this program. The way that you got to get a question in, yep, somebody with apparently shitty facial hair from what I gathered, not looking.
No, pubes.
Oh,
He's got pubes on his chin.
That might be the worst facial hair. All right, here's my question. Actually, it's not. It's a dumb question. I was going to say, would you rather have pubes on your face or like facial hair on your pube? Like
I think that's a good question for Jacob DePriest.
Who? Is he? Oh, he's gone? Looks like he got deleted by Rebel. Rebel's like, I'm done with this shit. Rebel's like, I've had it up to here. I've had it up to here. Rebel just taking names. Hey, Reb, that's one of the powers you get from being a mod. It's one of the powers you get from being a mod. Though, I always say, give people the benefit of the doubt. And as soon as it starts getting to that point, we all know what that point is. As soon as you start getting ridiculous, get them out of here, right? Like, if you wouldn't, the way that I'll always say it when you come to the Raiders Report is, if you wouldn't say it either A, to my face, or B, if you wouldn't say it in our house. Like, this is our home. If you're not going to, if you wouldn't talk like that walking to my home, you know, like, the one that I always laugh at, and it was more around politics, when people would just, like, come and just yell political things in our chat. My mind would be like, would you walk into my house and scream that? Like, as soon as you walk in, you're just screaming it. Why? You wouldn't do that. Act normal. Just act normal. All right, let's get into this mailbag here, or as Chad Smith spelled it, a literal mailbag. Which, I don't know if you noticed, as soon as mailbag popped in, David Zahn's head popped up. Drop your bags and touch your sacks. What did I miss? I'll say whatever, anything. Yeah, and that's, I think also, though, Zahn, you've earned that right. You know, like, David Zahn, there's just certain people in the chat where if Zahn says something ridiculous, you kind of laugh about it, like when your grandfather says something ridiculous. You're like, he's old.
We give him the benefit of the doubt. There's a 50-50 chance Zahn has pants on right now.
I mean, it's not an impossible chance that he's not shirt cocking it right now. Which, to this day, if you told me one of my favorite terms that I've learned in the year 2024, like, shirt cocking has got to be up there. If you don't know what shirt cocking is, imagine me doing this show right now, as I am, with only a t-shirt on. That's shirt cocking it. And I learned that from David Zahn. I'll tell you this. At what point does it get weird? I still could be shirt cocking it. Nobody would know. Jeremy's like, that's a hard pause if I've ever seen one. It's probably just this. I think you're good. One little finger. All right, let's get into this mailbag before people start leaving this stream. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's mailbag time here. I am Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and I'm going to be answering questions from our live show, which was recorded on May 15th, so please keep that in mind if anything has changed. The questions that you see on today's program are all from loyal subscribers that watch this program, and the way that you can get your questions on the show. Super Chat, guaranteed to get on. Use hashtag Raiders. The way that you would format that question is being like, hashtag Raiders, should the Raiders go out and trade for Jalen Ramsey? Which I imagine we get a question around Jalen Ramsey today. Let's go to the first one coming in from Richard. New John Madden, Al Davis movie coming out soon. I can't wait to watch this. My question of the nation is this. Are you more interested to see how Nicolas Cage plays John Madden or how Christian Bale plays Al Davis? I think I'm a little bit more interested to see the John Madden route. It is called Madden after all. Let's go to Samuel. What up? my inside source tells me they're trying Locky-Tossie out at the offensive line. I do always think the NFL is a copycat league, and the fact that maybe the most successful international pathway program player ever, Jordan Mailata. From who? Philadelphia Eagles. The fact that the Raiders also just hired 2 guys from Philadelphia, maybe that's telling us something that we don't know. But he's a monster human being, 6'6", 350 pounds. I mean, look at him next to Pete Carroll. Like, he's just a monster of a human being. But I also do wonder if you can perfect something. And Jordan Mailata was a big reason why the Eagles perfected the tush push. And I do think that the NFL is a copycat league. And the fact that the Raiders also went out and got a J.J. Pegues. Imagine if the NFL, the Raiders know something that goes, you know what? If teams are already trying to prevent the tush push, let's prepare for it. What's a good way to do it? Go get a J.J. Pegues, who in college football had 21 carries, 18 of those were either a first down or a touchdown. And then you out and get an international pathway program player that's a gigantic human being that can help you in the trenches. I don't think it's the worst idea, I'll tell you that. Let's go to Phoenix King. Going to week 1 versus the Pats. I'm making a sign just for McDummy. All right, another homework assignment here to everyone watching. If you had the opportunity to go to week 1, what would you put on that sign? Best answers will get a shout out on a future Raiders Report show. Make sure you have fun. I want to see Ashton Genty, Geno Smith do their thing. Be safe, be responsible. It is a beautiful area, though, I'll tell you that. Let's go to Rhea JB. Love the channel. Started watching you guys last season. Missed the live yesterday. Your quick thoughts on the season schedule, win projection. So I had the Raiders coming out to 9-8, which I think is a solid, improvement. I think the beginning of the schedule is easier than the back half of the schedule. I mean, there's a part of me where, shout out to Trivan in our group message on Instagram was like, man, the Raiders could lose their first 4 games, which, sure. I also think that the Raiders could win their first 6 games, where I think the Commanders are obviously the tough slate in there, but I think that there's a legit opportunity to go 5-1 to start the season off. Obviously, anything can happen. The Raiders can beat anybody, and I think the Raiders can lose to anybody. I think it's one of the hard parts about judging this Raiders organization, but you do have 2 primetime games on Monday Night Football. You got a tough slate to end the season. I think that this is a good schedule, though. I am going to do a little bit of a deep dive in the Raiders' schedule, and it will be a video that you guys get because I found something that is definitely worth noting. And I hope that you guys subscribe and hope that you watch. I don't know when that video is going to go out because, again, I'm filming this on May 15th, but you're going to see something about the schedule that every single Raiders fan needs to see. Let's go to one coming in here from Peter. I saw you say something about trading Trey Taylor. What was that about? So I put something out on social media, and again, I am somebody that when I see sometimes NFL news, I just tweet about it, and it's sometimes the first thing that comes to my mind. So the first thing that came to my mind, and I don't know if y'all saw this, are Darius Washington. He's a strong safety, free safety, safety in general for the Baltimore Ravens. He ended up tearing his Achilles a few days ago. I don't remember what day it was exactly, but the first thing that I thought of was, I wonder if Baltimore is looking for an extra safety depth. Could they be looking around the NFL? My mindset goes Trey Taylor. So I brought up Trey Taylor's name first off because he's related to Ed Reed. That's a huge connection with the Baltimore Ravens. The second reason is he was a 7th-round pick by our previous regime. And I think most Raider fans sitting up here going, I don't want them to trade Trey Taylor. I also don't want them to trade Trey Taylor. It's actually a tough thing to say. For that reason, we definitely shouldn't do it, right? But 7th-round pick, old regime, I'd go, all right, like that could make sense why they'd want to move on. Also, the Baltimore Ravens are a team that does really value, like, really versatile players. Jim Thorpe Award winner. Also, John Harbaugh is somebody that has always been very dedicated to the military. Air Force is where he played. So, like, I'm not saying that Trey Taylor's going to get traded. Sometimes I just give you guys my honest thoughts. Think of it as like a mailbag. And again, I don't want them to trade Taylor, but I think everything that I said there could potentially make sense. If the Ravens call, offer you a 6th-round pick, you'd probably do that. Even if they offered him a 7th-round pick, they might consider it. But I do think there's a lot to be seen yet with Mr. Trey Taylor. Appreciate the question, though. If you guys haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on those notifications. We're going to be pumping out mailbags all offseason long. We're going to be doing a lot more of these type of shows in the offseason. 4 live shows a week. I need y'all to pull up. See how dedicated the nation is. Let's go to the next one. Rolling in here from Simon. Yo, Simon, you ended up winning a Genty jersey. I have it written down, and I have no way of getting in contact with you. So, Simon, if you want your Ashton Genty jersey, send me a $1 Venmo. I can send it right back. I need your first, last name, because I don't think it's Simon SC. I need your shipping address, and I need your size. You're somebody I've been hunting down. Super hyped for the new looked Raider team and staff. I'm also keeping expectations grounded. Lastly, think this team can have playoff hopes. I think that this team does have playoff hopes. And to me, John Spytek is a smart guy. Pete Carroll is a smart guy. Do you agree with that statement? If you say yes to that, to me, you draft a running back at number 6 like Genty because you're confident enough in your ability to be able to make the playoffs. And whether they do, whether they don't, this is a really good football team, and I think you're going to see them be a really good football team this season. What up, your nightmare? Also, you are on the Genty jersey, so I need you to be able to hit me up. Just want to say I appreciate everything y'all do for us diehard fans. I try to watch every live, even when I'm busy. Oh, and I'm men's medium for that Genty jersey. I won like 2 weeks ago, and F McDummy. Perfect. So, medium men's for your nightmare. If you already sent me your first and last name and your shipping address, then that's awesome. But that men's medium helps. And again, anybody that won anything during the NFL draft, I am getting prepared to put in the largest order I ever have, and I'm trying to do it in one just smooth swoop. So if you haven't gotten anything yet, don't panic. You're going to get something. It's probably going to give, again, give me a month. But if you win something on this program, I promise you're going to get it. You're going to get it. Raider Rob, Mitch, would Jair Alexander be a good pickup if we can't get Ramsey? I'm good. All the reasons why I don't think the Raiders would trade for Jalen Ramsey are the exact same reasons why I don't think the Raiders would trade for Jair Alexander. We need a free safety. We need a nickel corner. Jair doesn't do those two things. On top of that, you're going to have to pay him a lot of money. And if you were to ask me, would I rather have Jair Alexander or Jalen Ramsey, this answer might surprise people. I'm going to go with Jalen Ramsey because he's been somebody that's always been looked at as being a good teammate. Jair Alexander has not been considered a good teammate over the past few seasons. Let's go to Jason Derulo. Would you rather sign Gilmore and have him play safety or trade for Ramsey and have him play safety? So I either got to sign Gilmore and have him play safety or trade for Ramsey. All right, Chugs is working on something over here. Actually, I like this idea. How about this? You got to pick one. You can either sign Stephon Gilmore or you can trade for Jalen Ramsey. Let's make this the pinned comment. Pick one. So this means you're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. Scroll on down. I'm trying to buy some time while I think of the answer that I want to give. SG for Stephon Gilmore. JR for Jalen Ramsey. Which one would you rather do? My answer coming up, hopefully, after this YouTube ad break. I'm going to go with sign Stephon Gilmore, and it's because if we're going to make these guys play a position that they've never played before, Gilmore's going to be a cheaper price. Ramsey's still probably the better player, though. Gilmore's still playing at a high level, 34 years old, and that's kind of the age that I think Ramsey would actually consider probably dropping back to safety if he's still playing. So the fact that I don't have to give up draft capital and the fact that I can sign him for probably half the price, I would just go out and do it. But if that's what you're considering, if I still got to pay Stephon Gilmore $10 million, go get Justin Simmons. Go get Julian Blackmon. There's other free safeties that we could go out and we could address that need. Let's go to Joe Seppi. What up, man? How many receiving touchdowns does Jack Besh have this season? The number that I would hope for is 4 to 5, and that's not because I don't think highly of Besh. Like, the number that's kind of just been in my mind is 40 catches, 600 yards, 4 to 5 touchdowns. But you also got to consider Genty's going to get his. Bauer's going to get his. Jacoby's going to get his. And this is going to be a football team that I do think can beat you in a lot of different ways. But if you told me right now, Jack Besh, 40 catches, 600 yards, 4 to 5 touchdowns, that's a great rookie season for the role that he's going to play. But I'd be curious to see what you guys think about Besh, how many touchdowns he's going to get. If he can be around 4 to 5, I would love where that puts the Las Vegas Raiders this season. Let's go to Autumn Win. What up, my man? I want to hear Mitch recite the Autumn Wind with enthusiasm, and go ahead and send me the Rookie of the Year jersey. Best of luck to you. I can't recite the Autumn Wind. I wish I could recite the entire song. Though there was a few times I can remember on Thursday Night Football that we tried to sing it, and it was a weird song to sing. I'm not going to lie. Just because, again, not that it's a weird song to sing. I shouldn't say that. It's if you've ever watched Thursday Night Football, you'll know why it's a weird song to sing for Thursday Night Football streams. But I do know the autumn win. It's actually the reason why I got the tattoo that I did on my leg, which shout out to my tattoo artist again, Sayer Tattoo, one of the best in the biz. I told him that I wanted the autumn win on my thigh, and he's like, you want me to tattoo wind? I was like, all right, I get how that's difficult. So he tried to make the thunderstorm, which is what we had there. But, hey, man, if you want to sing the autumn win, I know you don't want to hear me sing because I can't sing. Chug's on the other end. He can sing. If anybody does, though, want a chance to win an Ashton Genty jersey, every $5 super chat or every $5 super thanks that we get in the month of May, we're going to announce the winner on May 30th when we are live. You're going to be entered in for a chance to win an Ashton Genty jersey. If you don't know how to super thanks, there is a button if you go on your mobile device, if you're watching this on your phone, right underneath the Raiders Report, click this button right here, and then click $5, and you're ready to rock and roll. If you're watching it on your laptop, your desktop, then you're going to see those 3 little dots right there. You click on those 3 little dots, it's going to give you a drop-down menu. Then you click Super Thanks. I know that a lot of people are busy, and I know that a lot of people don't have the opportunity to watch this show live, but I still want to give those people an opportunity to take advantage of some of the giveaways and prizes that we have. Let's go to Big Luck. What up, Big Luck? What would Ramsey cost first? I think it'd honestly be a 3rd or a 4th round pick. Now, that's me saying that after the NFL draft. I almost wonder if there would be a team that would consider giving up more. Like, for example, it was rumored that the San Francisco 49ers were very high on Darian Porter. I don't remember what they did in the draft. I'm not going to act like I do. But let's just say a team was like, man, I really want to get a corner. I want to get him high. And they're unable to do it. Does a team like that that's in that Super Bowl window go, well, now we're going to pay up a little bit more for Ramsey? Because our Dolphins host here at Chat Sports, when he originally told me he thought that it could be a 3rd round pick, that's kind of what it was. Now, this was a 3rd round pick before the draft. And if you were looking for a 3rd round pick before the draft, you're definitely still looking for a 3rd round pick after the draft. So I would say it's probably a 3rd. But if I was the Raiders, I'd go, I got a quarterback and Geno Smith for a 3rd. I don't know if I want to give up a 3rd for a 31-year-old corner. Again, good player. Got to pay him $21.1 million. I think there's other ways, though, we could allocate that money and allocate that draft resource. Let's go to Emmanuel Sanchez. Mitch, who do you think is going to cover Diggs week 1? I think it actually depends more how healthy Stephon Diggs is. Because when did he get injured? So he got injured in week 6. So Chuck's told me he should be 100% healthy. He was working. Yeah, that's true. He was working out. Now that I remember those videos, he was working out with Geno Smith. I would say if you're going to get a guy like, again, where exactly are they going to put him? I would like a nickel to be placed on him, but then again, I don't love our nickel talent. I would imagine he's the number 1 receiver, and if he's the number 1 receiver, you're probably going to put your number 1 guy, which I would say is Ja'Cory Bennett. Let's let him see what the young man can do. What up, Christian Tate? What was your favorite Raiders schedule release skit? Oh, man, we were actually just talking about this live. I would say number 1's the Chiefs because they were pulling out flags left and right. I thought the tush push for the Eagles was funny. I love the Chargers one where they were kind of trolling them for not having any Super Bowl trophies. I do think Jackson Powers Johnson made fun of the Jags and the whole Duval thing. That was funny to me. The Blue Man Group I thought was creative for the New York Giants. This Raiders schedule release was by far the best it's ever been. And I tip my cap to the Raiders for being creative this year because I've said it before, and I'm not afraid to say it. I think the people that run the Raiders social media maybe don't have the best idea of what it takes to be successful at social media. And I've also said that whoever runs the Raiders YouTube channel has no idea how to run a YouTube channel. Like, I actually jokingly think if the Raiders hired Chugs and I, they could get rid of everybody else that does their YouTube channel, and we would make 10 times the amount of money, which that might be a bad thing to say, but I think it's the truth. I think that they would make 10 times the amount of what they're making now, and it wouldn't even be tough. Let's go to Can't Walk. Question for the nation. What are we looking forward to that hasn't been mentioned yet? Oh, man. Hasn't been mentioned yet? I mean, I guess we could go very surface level, and mandatory minicamp is June 10th. More practices are about to start May 19th. I also love the fact that, you got players already, guys like Geno Smith, Brock Bowers, Jackson Powers Johnson. They're already working out at the facility, and they're getting in there, and they're putting in that time and the effort. But I also love that because not every single NFL team is going to have that. There's still some rookies that are holding out that don't want to participate until that contract gets done. And then you got the Raiders where they're only one rookie away. I believe Jack Besh is the only Raider rookie that is still yet to sign his contract officially. But Besh is out there working. This team's already putting in that time. They're already putting in the effort. And I was talking to a Raiders player earlier in the week, and they literally told me, like, it's different in terms of competition and just the energy that's being brought on the field. Because I did have one of the rookies tell me that he thought Pete Carroll was one of the nicest human beings that he's ever met. And this was a player that literally told me, he's like, I grew up watching Pete. And all of us grew up watching Pete Carroll coach at USC, watch Pete, coach for the Seattle Seahawks, the Legion of Boom. But how personable Pete Carroll is something that fires up a lot of these guys early on, because AP did bring that. But I don't think AP had the respect, let's just be honest, that Pete Carroll brings to the table. And I also know that players didn't love the way that Josh McDaniels and that staff treated people, because they treated them the way I think like Bill Belichick treated people in New England, where they were treating guys like, we've been there, done that, we won 6 Super Bowls. This is a staff that already, you see it, players are getting in there, players want to get in there, players want to compete, and I think that that's something that could separate teams, because everybody's athletic, everybody's great in the NFL. What's going to be that 1%? And I'm hoping the Raiders already putting in that time and the effort, May, June, and July, is going to be that 1% that separates them. What up, Jeremy Cole? PC had the highlighter uniforms in Seattle. Maybe we get all black unis at home. This might be an unpopular opinion, because I know how Raider fans are. I would love all black uniforms. I would love all silver uniforms. I would love all white uniforms. I think the Raiders have the best colors in the National Football League. Silver and black, I don't think that you could do anything wrong with it, and I would love to see it. Honestly, and I would love to see the gold, because one of the old school Raiders jerseys they used to have, like way, way back in the day, there was a little bit of gold in there. I think Vegas has kind of got some gold in it as well. I think that the Raiders could do more with their jerseys. Now, again, that is coming from me. I know that there's a lot of fans out there that are like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. My other standpoint would be the Raiders for the past few years have been broken. And if it takes getting some sweet jerseys to maybe crack a curse or two, I'm fine with it. But all black, all white, all silver, I am team we can get a new jersey. I know rubs a lot of Raiders fans the wrong way. I think one of the easiest ways that you can tell the age of a Raiders fan without asking them how old are you is by going, are you okay with an all-black Raiders jersey? Helmet included. If you're over the age of 50, you probably hate that idea. If you're under the age of 50, you're like, all right, man, let's do it. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. If I did end up missing your question, though, I apologize. You can blame Chugs. Hit me up on Instagram or Twitter, at Mitchell Renz 365. I will do my best to answer questions. Again, I always try to go in my DMs, but I also am a very honest person, and I get married. By the time you guys watch this video, I might be getting married in less than 20 days. I have we have some sort of couples shower this weekend, so I'm not going to have as much time, but just understand that I'm getting married. I'm getting ready to go through something really big in my life, which takes a little bit of time away from the nation. I will always put the nation up there, and I promise you that. But if I don't get to your questions in the next 3 weeks, bear with me a little bit and at least understand that I'm getting married. Honeymoon's coming up. This offseason, I will do my best. Cool part, though, you're still going to get videos every single day. That's a promise to you. So hopefully you guys appreciate that. All right, let's go to the Bayou Raider. Sign me up, Mitch. How can we support you and Alex by taking away some financial stress? Venmo, your job, okay with it? I bet this family would help too. And there is, I don't want to say that I don't appreciate you asking this, but at the end of the day, I want people that support me and support this show to support the Raiders Report. And the fact that you're willing to give me money to help me pay for my wedding, believe me when I tell you that's probably one of the coolest things and most humble things. But I already know that a lot of people already donate a lot of money, and I always want people to know that the money that y'all send in goes back to the nation, right? So if you want to send money to make the show more entertaining before I lead up to my wedding, that way I'm in the highest spirits possible. Like, we will do a show on Tuesday, the final show that I do live before I get married. I would say pull up to the Raiders Report that day and make sure that I leave in the most happy mood possible, because I don't want people to send me money for my own personal things. To me, like, that's me. Like, that's me, you know? And that's how the most honest way that I can put it. Like, if people want to send me a wedding gift, you guys can go online. You can look at our wedding registry. Like, I'm not going to get mad about it. But in all honesty, I would rather y'all spend that money making sure that the Raiders Report and Raider Nation has a great flipping time that final Tuesday show, because that's what I do this for. And hopefully that's an honest answer. I think that's an honest answer. What up, 805 Raider Paul? I'm not going to lie. That's controversial. This is controversial, man. Controversial. Am I the only one that's looking at this? Anthony Green, how long will you be gone for? So I'll be gone Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I might still take that next Monday off as well, just because I'm going to have family in town. But my honeymoon, I'll be gone a week, and the wedding week, I'll be gone a week. But luckily, you guys got Chugs if any breaking news happens, and I will work really, really hard on that Monday and Tuesday to make sure that you guys have videos covered for the entire week. But again, if any breaking news happens, Chugs has been able to do some live shows before. He's covered Josh Jacobs' franchise tag. I remember that one. I just remembered you were live for the Week 1 game last season. He's got it covered.
Not for the Raiders.
No, it was literally the first game of the year.
Thursday, yeah.
But you did also cover the Buccaneers game when Chuck scratched my eye.
Yeah, I remember that.
That might have been the biggest thing that you've ever covered here. So we got plenty of people here to make sure the show's going to continue to run. You guys are still going to get content.
Wish that game was a little better, but
don't remember it. I legitimately, it's the one game where, if I always say, because Chugs does this trivia, and we're about to do trivia here at Chat Sports, that my niches would be either A, Pokemon, B, Jurassic Park, or 3, C, the Las Vegas Raiders of the last 10 years. I think that I know, obviously, a lot about the team. If you were to give me a random trivia question on the Raiders' Week 14 game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2024, you're probably going to stump me. You're probably going to stump me. It's the only game that I did not watch live. I tried to watch it live, but obviously that did not go well. All right, y'all, final chance to get in to win some money here on the Raiders Report. It is a $20 Venmo for a chance to win a little bit of the Jing, which right now I am seeing we have Adrian Leone. You're in. Adrian, Bravo, Melvin. I'll see what those two Venmos are. I'm guessing it has to do with the jerseys. And then Ron Raspberry. You, sir, are in. So final call to get in. It is a $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. Let me, can I write something down here real quick, Chuck?
Yep.
All right, so I'm guessing Melvin. Let me see who you are, Melvin. Unless one of your names. I know, Melvin, you just sent me something. Can you comment, what your YouTube name is in that thread for me? That way I get that. Melvin, I gotcha. And then I also saw one for Adrian Bravo. I'll check that one out. All right. Melvin, Adrian, I got your information. Just tell me again. If I'm supposed to get you a jersey, I need to see your YouTube name, though. That's the other part. Richard Kelly, Anthony Green, you guys are getting in this race. Love it, love it, love it. Which now means winner goes home with 120. Though Anthony's in this thing twice, which makes some of y'all nervous. Richard Kelly, you in. All right, Chugs, I'm going to send you this list. Yesterday we did donkeys race because of Sam. So I don't want donkeys today and no snails. Besides that, anything's on the table.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Also, what was that one super chat of those two people playing the trumpet? That was, it makes more sense now that I'm seeing moving.
Yeah.
Not moving, kind of sus. Not moving, kind of sus. King Shav, who's leaving? I'm not going to share that. I mean, you guys will be able to see. I'll say this. It's somebody who's worked here for a long time and definitely hurts a little bit because, again, you get to know these people very, very well. And even saying that is not right. People like these are like our really good friends. You know, we hang out with each other a lot outside of work, but he's very into trivia. So we're doing a little bit of a chat sports trivia night tonight, and celebrate him being a part of our company for probably 3+ years at this point. Was he here before you? Mm-mm. You were here before him?
The only people here before me were you, Tom, James, Brett, Chase, Harrison, Sam, Marshall.
Okay.
And Chase was hired the same week I was.
Yeah. Okay. That's crazy. I should know that better, but at this point, I only know who I was here before.
And then the next up were Jack and Perry.
Yikes. One was great. One was great.
We really miss Perry.
Oh, boy. All right, coming up. Somebody's going to go home with $120.
Perry the platypus.
Rustin Long. Can you add Rustin?
Nope.
And can you also add Bridget? Rustin Long and Bridget. Literally. 3, 2, 1. Let's run it. Somebody's going home with $140 here on the Raiders Report. And I don't mean to be a troll, but this one's close. Bridget looks excited. I don't know what Richard Kelly is wearing.
Anthony Green has a weird smile on his face.
Carlos
right
is creeping me out here a little bit. LA Crash Dog. I'm telling you what, this looks like if Smurfs only dated their brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? This is the Hills Have Eyes Smurfs edition. I don't know how we found this one. Carlos Carpenter, he's not doing well. Gilbert Moreno's been running a good race, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Though he's kind of shirt cocking it a little bit. Somebody's about to win $140, and it is Adrian Leone. I mean,
Rustin Long.
this is who's this?
Rustin Long.
I don't think it is. Who's this?
That's Rustin Long.
How?
Let's see. Yeah.
Then who's this? Then who's that name badge for Rustin Long?
That's for this guy. The one that you just pointed to.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's
I think it's just because
they're bent. No, it's because they're bent over.
Yeah.
Pause. Adrian. All right, Adrian.
What is Crash Dog's eyes look? Crash Dog's like checking out.
Out of all of them, Crash Dog's creeping me out the most.
And Bridget is right on Rustin Long.
I mean, I'll tell you this right now. If Rustin Long farted, Bridget would be able to tell him what he had for dinner. All right, Adrian, $140 going to you. Congrats. And if you could please confirm that you just received $140, that would be great.
Oh, Anthony Green, you actually did get last this time.
Oh, he came in last time, too. The race we did yesterday, he also came in last.
Dude, what a gentleman. Always.
I almost think we have to send them. All right, Anthony, we're going to send you one butthole pick, and the other one won't be a butthole. You're going to have to decide what that is. You're going to have to decide. I do actually wonder how many people are like, I can't wait to get a butthole pick. Again, there's been a lot of people who have gotten some butthole picks. A lot of people.
We do have
Bridget, I promise I would never send you a butthole pick.
One more super chat to get to.
We do have one more.
And it's
Mr.
Suavemente.
Mitch, last year you said you might get 9 wins. This year you're predicting the same. How then say you we improved?
Oh, he was wrong last year.
I was very wrong last year.
So that's how.
I will say this. I was hoping that Luke Getsy wouldn't be a total disaster. I was hoping that our offensive line would have been a little bit better. I was hoping that Zamir White looked like Zamir White at the end of 2023 and not the way Zamir White looked in 2024. I also think that if our defense could have stayed healthy, that would have changed everything. But because we got the injury bug, Luke Getsy might have been worse than Josh McDaniels, and let's face it, Antonio Pierce was in over his head. I actually think that if the Raiders last season were coached by this regime, not saying we were going to the playoffs, but we probably would win 6 games. And just because I think Geno Smith is such an upgrade. Ashton Genty, such an upgrade. Extra year of Brock Bowers. Our offensive line is going to be better. Our defense does scare me in the secondary. I'm not going to lie to you, but I do still think that this is a team that's going to be able to win in the trenches, and Patrick Graham is somebody that I give a lot of credit to. Chip Kelly's the best offensive coordinator the Raiders have had in I don't know how flippin' long. And the fact that we got 12 indoor games with a quarterback that is as good as what Geno is indoors, that gives me a lot of confidence. And look at what John Spytek did with Tampa Bay. Look at what Pete Carroll did with Seattle. All they're doing what they did where they won Super Bowls, had a lot of success, and you're seeing being that brought in. Like even today, again, we talk about players all the time, but front office is a big reason why there are organizations that are successful year in and year out. The fact that the Raiders were able to get an Anthony Patch and the fact that the Raiders were also able to get Brian Hunt, stole those 2 guys from Philadelphia, and then the Raiders also got a guy by the name of Brian Stark, stole him from Denver. Like, those are 3 very well-respected guys that got interviews for GM jobs. Like, you know how you guys think of Champ Kelly? And I know Champ Kelly was our assistant GM. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Brian Stark, I think Anthony Patch, and I think by the guy like Brian Hunt are probably actually more respected in draft circles than Champ Kelly. And it's not a disrespect to Champ Kelly. Champ is very good at his job. But I think we got 3 guys better than Champ Kelly. So I think that's one of those things where, again, people want to come to Vegas. People want an opportunity to work with Tom Brady. People want an opportunity to be a part of this regime. Because I also think that if I was very confident in my ability to make a team better, I would go, if I'm able to get this Raiders organization turned around, guess what? I'm going to get some serious looks to be a GM because there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on that AFC West. A lot of guys to learn from. And you're telling me guys don't want to learn from Tom Brady, Pete Carroll, all these really good masterminds in the NFL? It makes their resume better. The Raiders have also fired a lot of people. So if you're really confident in what you do, maybe it's an easy promotion that you just pop in. I don't know. We'll see. One more super chat. Do you see Charles Grant starting at right tackle? No. DJ Glaze is going to be the Raiders' right tackle to start the season. Now, again, Pete Carroll is somebody that you can have something in mind. If Charles Grant proves that he's a better left tackle than Colt Miller, Pete Carroll's got the balls to say Charles Grant's going to be the left tackle. From what I understand, though, it sounds like the Raiders want to use Caleb Rogers more of like this right side of the offensive line guy, and Charles Grant's going to stick to the left. That's very early on in the process, but no. I would say Grant, a good role for Charles Grant, and I'm not saying this. Remember what Brandon Parker was a few years ago for the Raiders, who maybe not a great starting tackle, but you go, okay, like he's a okay swing tackle, like can play left and right. That's kind of what I'm thinking for Charles Grant this season of. I don't know if I want him to start, but he can do both if need be, but he's got to learn how to get better because he's got some upside, but going from William and Mary to then jumping up to the NFL, there's going to be a learning curve there. But I don't see right tackle. No, it's going to be DJ Glaze. All right, y'all. Chugs and I are going to hop on out here again. Appreciate all y'all tuning in. Friendly reminder, tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern time, bring your drinking pants. Bring your drinking pants. We're going to have some fun. We're going to get wild. It's week 1, Madden simulation, Raiders, Patriots. If you're not ready to party, do not show up. That I promise you. Noah, my point is, wouldn't all this improvement you are talking about that I agree with then take us over 9 wins? I'm at 10 to 12. I would love to say that the Raiders are a 10 to 11 to 12 win team.
They won 3 games.
But they won 4 games last season. And honestly, they were lucky to win 4. So until I actually see it, it can happen. The Commanders won 12 games last season. It can happen in one off season. But you got to be able to stay healthy. You got to be able to get lucky. And I'm going to do something. I'm going to talk about a topic about the Raiders, and I don't want to give a show away, but I think once I talk about one of the shows that I'm going to be breaking down, Chugs and we're going to film it tomorrow. It'll go out probably over the weekend. I think you might change your tune a little bit, and that's how I'll leave that. But no, I appreciate all your supers. I appreciate everyone that pulled up. Make sure you guys, again, are here tomorrow for our Man and Watch party. Enjoy the rest of your day, and as always, go Raiders.
Let's go.